The cruelest part of watching the love of your life marry someone else isn't during the vows. It's the hollow ache of seeing it unfold on a shaky live stream at 2 in the morning, me in sweatpants, spooning ice cream straight from the carton, miles away from the man who once swore he'd never let me go. Here I am in my glossy Chicago apartment, staring at Marcus, his fingers laced with a woman named Elena's, as they promise forever beneath the golden sun of the California coast. Tears stream endlessly down my face, because deep down, I know I'm the reason this heartbreak exists. 5 years ago, Marcus Rodriguez was everything to me. My college sweetheart. My best friend. The man who knelt on a starlit Mexican beach during our last spring break, offering me a ring he'd saved for months to buy. I said yes instantly, certain no one else could ever claim my heart the way he did. I couldn't picture a future without his contagious laugh filling our home or his disastrous cooking that always ended with smoke alarms blaring. But then Goldman Sachs offered me a job in New York. Suddenly, Marcus's dream of settling in Bakersfield felt less like a home and more like a cage. I convinced myself I was being rational when I suggested delaying our wedding for a year so I could establish my career. I told him long distance would be easy, that nothing could shake our bond. Marcus didn't argue, which should have been my first warning. He just gave me that bittersweet smile I dreaded and promised he'd wait, no matter how long it took. He drove me to the airport, kissed me goodbye like I'd be back in a few days, not walking away from the future we'd built together. That first year, I buried myself in work, 16-hour days, endless flights, constant meetings. Every pang in my chest when Marcus called, I told myself, was just nostalgia, not regret. Meanwhile, Marcus stayed steady. He phoned every night despite the time difference, sent flowers to my office just because, and visited whenever his teaching schedule aligned with my rare free weekends. But even then, I felt him slipping. His voice carried quiet disappointment when I canceled trips or rushed off the phone for work that could have waited. When our first postponed year ended, I panicked and pushed for another delay, insisting I couldn't leave New York until I secured a senior analyst title. Marcus went silent for what felt like forever. Then he finally asked, his voice heavy and tired, "How long, Rachel? How many promotions, how much money, how many milestones before you remember you wanted to marry me?" I snapped back defensively, that he was being unfair, that I was building a future for both of us, that if he truly loved me, he'd understand. My words were harsher than I intended, and I knew I couldn't take them back. But Marcus didn't argue. He didn't hang up. Instead, he said softly, "I love you, which is why I'll keep waiting, even though I'm starting to realize you may never come back." That should have been my wake-up call. I should have booked the first flight to California, chosen him over the promotions and prestige. Instead, I buried myself deeper in ambition, telling myself his patience was proof of loyalty, that I could have it all if I just worked harder. I started dating casually, calling it networking, harmless fun. But the years blurred, and Marcus's presence in my life began to fade. Calls became shorter, then infrequent. Eventually, they stopped. When he admitted he was seeing other people, jealousy burned through me, but I smothered it, reminding myself I was still his fiancée, the one he'd promised to wait for. By year 4, Elena appeared. The warmth in Marcus's voice when he mentioned her told me she wasn't just a distraction. She was real. She was different. A kindergarten teacher at his school, someone who shared his love for children, who wanted the quiet family life he had always dreamed of. When he stopped mentioning her altogether, I should have realized it meant she mattered too much. Instead, I felt relieved, pretending nothing had changed. Reality hit me like a tidal wave the day I saw his engagement post online. Not to me, but to Elena Martinez. She'd been wearing his grandmother's ring for months while I remained oblivious. The photo was on the same beach where Marcus once promised me forever. Elena glowed in a flowing white dress, exuding peace I hadn't felt in years. I called him in desperation, demanding how he could betray me when I was still his fiancée. His voice was calm, steady, resolute. "Rachel, we haven't spoken in months. You left 5 years ago and kept finding reasons not to return. I can't wait forever for someone who won't choose me." I insisted my success was for us, that I always meant to come back, that he was giving up too soon. But he interrupted me gently, his quiet kindness cutting deeper than anger. "You made your choice every day for 5 years. Now I'm making mine." Their wedding came together quickly, a simple ceremony before the school year began. I became obsessed, scrolling through mutual friends' posts and Elena's public Instagram, clinging to every detail. I told myself I was just curious about the woman who replaced me. But deep down, I couldn't accept that Marcus had found joy without me while I was still chasing something that felt hollow. Elena was everything I wasn't. Warm where I was ambitious. Rooted where I was restless. Content with simplicity where I craved more. Her photos showed Marcus laughing at their kitchen table, tending to their garden, coaching Little League, living the very life he'd once begged me to share. I tried dating seriously for the first time since college, but no one compared to him. No one made me feel like Marcus did, that I was his entire world. I reached every career goal. Senior analyst. Vice president. A corner office overlooking Central Park. Yet none of it filled the emptiness left by losing the only person who had loved me without conditions. The night before his wedding, I booked a flight to Los Angeles, convinced I could storm the ceremony, confess my mistakes, and win him back by finally choosing him. I pictured myself running down the beach, shouting that love mattered more than any title or paycheck. But when I landed at LAX, I froze. I never rented a car. Instead, I sat in an airport bar, sipping wine, watching Elena's sister live-stream the ceremony. Marcus looked happier than I'd ever seen him. Interrupting his joy would have been the cruelest thing I could have done. Now I sit in my beautiful apartment, surrounded by every symbol of success I thought I wanted. And I cry for the man I lost, not because he betrayed me, but because I let him go. Marcus won't call anymore. He won't send flowers, won't plan visits, won't wait for me to figure out what mattered all along. The hardest truth is that this isn't a movie where a grand gesture wins him back. He's moved on. And Elena now wakes beside the man who once promised me forever. I thought he'd wait because he said he would. I never considered that promises break when you choose everything else over the person who made them. I'm 32, wildly successful, completely alone, and finally facing the truth. The life I built was nothing but a polished distraction from the only thing that ever truly mattered.